Mab Jones, are you there, man?
Yeah.
Lovely. Are you ready?
I need to use the toilet.
You need to when the adrenaline of being on stage kicks in, I know. Just please welcome to the stage the marvellous resident poet, Mab Jones!
Thank you very much. My name's Mab. With this spot, I usually try and do something fluffy at the start, then something heavy, and then something fluffy. But I'm not going to do that today. I've kind of got a poetry sandwich for you. So it's kind of heavy, light, heavy. The first poem is called Compered. It was inspired by walking through town on a Saturday and noticing that all the drunk people there are really quite Welshy sounding, you know, and then walking back in the morning on the Sunday and seeing like the reservoirs and slicks of vomit everywhere. So it's called Compered. Here comes Jones with his good Welsh bones and his good Welsh girl back home. He's come to the city because his girl's not that pretty and the little dog won't give him a bone. He goes to the games and he drinks pints of brains and his own brain soon gets mislaid. He's come from the valley, but he'll come in the alley, but the dog will do it if she's paid. Jones, be good to the tad. The more you pay out, the more legs you'll pad. The more you pad, the better you feel, so be a good tourist and make that bitch squeal. Here comes Price, with his good Welsh ties and his good Welsh family tree. He's come to the town because his ties tie him down and he wants for a while to be free. So he drinks like a fish and he soon gets his wish as he loses all self-restraint. He beats up some whore and he breaks someone's jaw. He's a thug, but in his village he's a saint. Price, you're being too nice. Cardiff's a cake, go on, take a slice. As long as you spend, you can do as you please. So be a good tourist and break that man's knees. Here comes Parry, who's going to marry a good Welsh girl from his village. Before he ties the knot, he's keen to learn a lot in one night of murder, rape and pillage. He drinks in a pub, then he goes to a club and he dances like the world's about to blow. Then down in the bay, because he's closet gay, he blows in some guy he doesn't know. Parry, you know you must marry some pure Welsh girl with an untouched Welsh valley. But Cardiff is only a short ride away, so be a good tourist, come here to be gay. Come Parry, come Price, come Rhondda, come all, to Cardiff, the capital city of Wales. You drinks till you're sick on a Saturday night, and on Sunday the city is slick with tap trails of vomit and piss. But we'll clean up your mess. You're pure Welsh speakers, we're so much less. Your great-great-granddad was Owen Glyndwr. My great-great-grandma was some village whore. Your country is rich and ours is so poor. So come again till you can't come no more. Thank you. I feel a little bit nervous. One of the heavy ones. And this next one is quite light, and it's not actually written by myself. It's written by the famous Pam, who you may or may not have heard of. She's a famous performance poet from the 1970s. She's from the West Country. The poem I'm going to read is from this book, but before I do, I'm just going to read the more well-known version. It's her most famous poem. I'm going to read 2 verses, that's all. It's called Oh, I Wish I'd Looked After My Teeth. And I'm going to do it in Ham's accent, just 2 verses. Oh, I wish I'd looked after me teeth, and spotted the perils beneath. All the toffees I chewed, and the sweet sticky food. Oh, I wish I'd looked after me teeth. I saw it the other week, by the way, so this is quite an accurate impression. I wish I'd been that much more willing. I love Pam. And I had more tooth there than filling. To pass up gobstoppers from respecting me choppers, and to buy something else with me shilling. So that's the original, well, the well-known version, but I was quite shocked to discover in a small bookshop in Hay on Wye this other book, Pam Uncensored. I'm just going to read you the original version of that famous poem. Oh, I wish I'd looked after me tits. Those 2 great front wobbly bits. All the bad bras I chose and the ill-fitting clothes. Oh, I wish I'd looked after me tits. I wish I'd been that much more able when me front bits was firm-like and stable. To choose a twin cupping to hold me boobs up in that were wired up with big bits of cable. When I think of the brassieres I wore that made both me bosoms feel sore, they was either too tight or too loose-like and slight, but I didn't care, I could score. Me mother, she told me no end. Don't you follow that lacy brar trend. I was young then and gormless, me brars was all formless. I never had much time to spend. Oh, I slow clop around them all right, but I chose things that didn't fit right. The lace scraps I bought didn't give much support, but I didn't mind that in the night. Me mother's advice did I spurn. Too late, oh too late did I learn. If I'd chosen a brassiere that looked much less jazzier, me boobs now would be much more firm. Now I lays in me bed and each breast do slope down each side of me chest. They wobbles and jiggles like fat worms they wiggles and sits on me knees when I rest. How I laughed at me mother's front bits, now it's mine that flop down when I sit. Me proud pointed shooters, now 2 flabby ooters, oh I wish I'd looked after it. poem, this one I wrote myself, is my version of the famous E.E. Cummings poem, Maggie and Millie and Molly and May. Does anyone know that poem? It's a very magical, mystical, life-affirming poem. My version is called Sod's Law. It's brand new. Bratcher and Bessie and Boppo and Biff went down the drope for a beer and a spliff. It was July, they was all sweating conkers, because they were still wearing shell suits, the plonkers. Bratcher was wearing a Burberry cap that he got down Bessemer Road. And Bessie fake feelers he got off a chap who said he'd come by a load. And Boppo were chained that he nicked us and bloke when he beat him up outside the Legion. And Biff just had acne, but he liked to smoke and dealt all the blow in the region. So Bratcher and Bessie and Boppo and Biff smoked up the grass till their eyes went skew-whiff, and drank down the beer and smoked a bit more. And soon they was all out of Carlin and Draw, and lay on the grass and talked about stuff. Like who of them got Mab Jones up the duff, but she's a real character. And which one's in Kaylee and which one's in Kelly? As if they all think that that Laura was smelly. And who raped Shanice? Did she call the police? A pie or a pasty? Which had more grease? And should they all go up and do it again? They teach her to be more respectful to men. They slap her the slapper and kick with their cappers and rate to the rhythmic rhymes of their favourite rappers. And then they'd nip off down the nap for a nap and hope that the coward and give them the clap. But if she had, at least they'd all have it together. They was good mates and would be mates forever. In a world full of sluts, they was firm butts. And so saying that, they lay down on the grass and slept in such a way that they all had their nuts facing the crack in their firm butts' firm ass. But as they slept, from over the woods and far away came an elf sprite, bright and gay, a fairy with a magic wand that liked young boys, brunette and blonde. It sprinkled moon dust in the eyes of these macho mashed up guys, or Russian dust, or from Uranus, for with lust, advantage lad, loyal brother, not for birds, but for each other. When Bratcher and Bessie woke from their nap, they was all feeling stiff, not in their hands or the backs of their necks, but down in their white oats like nylon kecks. They had this weird feeling, a strange sort of itch. They looked at each other and started to twitch. It was block up on drugs, block up with juice. They lost all their senses, their shell suits come loose. Stark naked they stood, down Neely Wood, and their own Neely Wood was soon up to no good. They fondled and thrusted and twisted and kissed. The years they repressed, now they couldn't resist. They forgot about Ailey and Laura and Kelly. They forgot about raping that slut. But they had discovered the best kind of cherry is covered in dark chocolate. And they all chose to swallow. The first course was semen with chocolate to follow. And Bratcher buttered the backs of each boy. And Bessie snapped on each sweet saveloy. And Boppo found on a finger of fudge is good enough to eat. Discovered he did like salami, and with Bessie's white bread made a nice sarnie. Boppo turned all of his fingers into a chocolate each feet. And when Bratcher and Bessie and Boppo and Biff was all full of fluid like bottles of sif, their itches all scratched, their urges unblocked, they broke like a jigsaw, their bodies unlocked, and they all fell asleep on the grass once again, and into sweet dreams for satisfied men. But of course, some hours later, when they awoke, they couldn't believe what they'd done. The spell had worn off, they all blamed the dope they put on their shell suits and run, away from the drope and back to their mums. Four shell-shocked blokes with very sore bums and got in their beds and all sucked their thumbs and cried, because inside, each of them knew he was homo. But if you aren't test, then being a perf is always a definite no-no. So all four repressed it and never discussed it, and in fact never spoke. They was also disgusted. They all blamed the fairies, the goblins, the elves. They couldn't accept they was fairies themselves, and they married or moved as soon as they could, and forgot what they'd done that day down Ely Wood. And the moral is this: the most macho fellas, who usually treat women like slags, will often turn out to be real Cinderellas, lazyboys, homos, and fags. If gays make you feel queer, then you're queer. If they don't, then you've nothing to fear. But sod's law dictates, if you feel strong distaste, then that fairy will one day appear.
Good job. Give me a cheer if you think she's better than Pamez. You're in the finalists on poetry competition, my dear, and we need you to be here as long as possible. Win it, and we'll put you on the poster. No, seriously, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen.